Our next panel coming right up will be led by the incredible and inestimable, that's a fine word, Sonny Marinout, and he'll introduce everybody else. Let's hear it for Sonny.
Yes, good morning everybody. Early morning, I see quite a packed room for the second day, it's not bad. I think we have a fully packed panel over here and addressing an interesting topic, but a really important topic in the cannabis industry, forming strategic partnerships. And sometimes really underestimated, but I think it's really important if we want to grow all together, do it together. You can come further than by ourselves, and I think we have here a group of people who really think in partnerships, think about successful partnerships. But let's start with a quick introduction round. So go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for everybody for being here today. It's a real pleasure. It's been a 26-year journey for us, so this is a special moment to be amongst everybody that's in the industry. I'm the founder of Levin Therapeutics, Levin B2B, Levin Magazine, and our new Levin Sun Grown program. And we focus on providing unique connections for our partners and helping them achieve their dreams. So appreciate everybody being here today.
Thanks, Andrew. Narkis?
Hi, I'm Narkis Tesler. I'm from Medocan Group in Israel. We have an indoor premium cultivation facility that's more like a pharmaceutical facility than an agricultural facility with lots of high tech. We grow indoor cannabis for the medical market in Israel. We're one of the leading companies in Israel in our niche, in our premium niche. And we realized it was time to expand, and we began looking for now to expand to the international world, and we're looking for global partnerships.
Thank you. Michael?
Hey everybody, I'm Mike Torrey, the Chief Operating Officer of Vertosa. We are an infusion technology company. We create ingredients for products, primarily beverages, gummies, that are homogeneous, stable, and fast-acting. So what that really is you have your flower, you might smoke it, you extract your oils, live resins, rosins, distillate, isolates, dab that, vape it, put it into slow-acting edibles. We basically take that one step down in the supply chain, create fast-acting, water-compatible ingredients that then go into primarily beverages, like I said, reduce the onset time from about 45 minutes to 5 to 10 minutes. Operating out of California for about 8 years now, and I've created a bunch of partnerships, starting in Canada, 20 different states with a lot of different regulated partners, and then we also service the booming, intoxicating hemp market in the US as well. And we have a couple partners in the EU, but hoping to grow some. So thanks for having me and excited to be here.
Good morning, Scott Schmidt. I'm with Emerald Village, West Hollywood. Emerald Village is a cannabis tourism destination marketing organization for the city of West Hollywood. We are very aggressive in licensing cannabis businesses, had the first lounges in the United States, and now we're working to try and establish West Hollywood as some people have called it the Beverly Hills of weed.
Morning, everybody. I'm John Slaughter, the CEO and founder of High North. High North Laboratories is 9 years old now. We are a GMP ISO laboratory that releases cannabis from Canada to all around the world. We're actually the only laboratory in Canada that can release to every single cannabis market around the world, so we were uniquely kind of positioned to international cannabis. We've been doing this for 9 years, and out of those, the past 4 years in Canada, we've been Lab of the Year and kind of well recognized for our testing around the world.
All right, thanks, John. And myself, I'm Sonny from the Netherlands, one of the partners at Cultivators, and we are really in the growing space. So we're partnering growing business. We help growers, investors from the business plan, facility design to getting up and running and making sure the cultivation goes smooth. Because of that, we do also a lot of cultivation research in the Netherlands, but we'll dive into that later. Looking to the panel, we are coming from all kinds of businesses, and Scott already mentioned, actually the whole value chain is here, so I think we can have some interactive discussions. But let's start with the best partnerships you have had. Can you tell us a bit more, Andrew?
Yeah, no. So the best partnerships we've had to date. They're actually Tim and Fallon are sitting here in the crowd. So we're going to dive further into these partnerships today. What makes them the best partnerships? For us, with our business in the B2B space, we don't have many Levin-approved suppliers in our network because we have a set standard that we uphold our teams to. So the foundation of our program kind of stems from the individual at the end of the day. So, mindset, lifestyle, passion, drive, experience, goals, that for us is what goes into the foundation of a partnership. And they're sitting here today, which is fantastic, but there's some big things in the works. But besides the actual business partnership itself, it stems from the personal connections. So yeah.
And for you from Israel,
we've learned that it's not just working about the best in the industry. It's about finding the one that suits your business the most, that you can hit off each other. You can elevate each other. You can, if you're not with the right fit, it just doesn't work. We've tried. We've had a lot of ups and downs. We found a fantastic distributor, for example, that we worked with that was the #1 distributor we wanted to work with. They were not in the cannabis industry, but they knew pharmaceutical distribution. They were excited to be there. They shared our values. But at the end of the day, they didn't understand cannabis. So it's not the perfect fit. So it's really about understanding what you need from a partner and making sure that they understand what you need and that you can hit off each other and help each other succeed.
Yeah. Correct words. And for you, Michael, what is your most important partnership you have and why?
Yeah, we have a lot of really important partnerships. I guess I'll piggyback on both of them. I think it's the alignment and the mindset. There may not be a wrong or right, but if you're a price-driven company that's trying to partner with a quality-driven company or vice versa, it's just not going to work out. We've certainly experienced that. So yeah, I think it's just making sure you really look at the synergies and that you're aligned across the board, and that it doesn't just work on paper. It has to really work in the mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in many ways, Emerald Village West Hollywood is a partnership. We have 10 dispensaries and 7 lounges for a town of 36,000 people. And so normally, and before we came together, everyone was fighting with each other and spending all of their energies and resources on litigation and trying to find the code violations and turn them into the city. Once people started working together, the revenues are up 37.8% in 3 years compared to the statewide average. And our best partnership as an organization is really with our city. The city wants to see it succeed. They get 7.5% of every dollar, right? So if they can invest 5 cents to get 7.5 cents back, that's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for us, if we look at 9 years now, we've had customers here that have been with us since our, we call her day ones. They've been here since the very start. It's those that are have an analytical mindset that are kind of Kaizen, call it, driven. They're looking to constantly improve on what they're doing. There's no point in having consistent and accuracy inside of your testing if there isn't some type of change. And if you are trying to improve, having a lab that is 5 to 6% off at any one time isn't helpful. If I've just increased the amount of feed I've put into this line, it is $20,000 a month for you to do this. Is it worth the $20,000 a month? Am I getting that kind of additional piece from that? If people are following those analytics or people are looking for those numbers and constantly trying to push the envelope, those have been our best partners to date, because we can have that conversation and we could be speaking the same language and also reaching for that same goal. So it's been great for years.
Yeah, and I think you're the best partner in our panel, I think, because you're working with 80% of the panelists.
A lot of these people here, yes. I think, and I pull up, Vertosa is probably a great one to, call it right now, that, when you came to Canada, I think it was important to have a partner that not only could test the products properly and represent them properly for the good and the bad, to be able to tell the people, no, you're not doing it right, and don't do it like that. You need to adjust like this. You need to make these changes so that the product can be represented properly in the market. if you're not getting proper analytics, the product that you're bringing to market is not going to be representative of what you're looking to bring from the U.S. And I think that has really helped for the partnerships and for even the products as they hit the market.
Yeah. If I look to ourselves, one of our strategic partnerships in the Netherlands is that we brought like 10 to 12 suppliers in the horticulture industry together to do together research on cannabis cultivation. Because together everybody has a part of the puzzle, and together we can do new research, get new insights, and share that with all of our customers. So I see also a couple companies here in the crowd and at booths like Fluent, Supriva, Groden, they're all here. We do that research together because then it's more affordable, you can do more all together, and then the whole industry can grow. Is that something you guys have set up in your own country as well? Narkis, you were telling that you now finally, because of also competition from products from Canada, you are working together with other growers in Israel.
Exactly. When you come up with against a challenge, it's difficult for you to stay alive. I think you saw it in California, you probably saw it in the Netherlands. Then the number one priority is to staying alive. And if we can work together and do better work together, that's part of succeeding.
But initially you might be a bit hesitant of working together with the older growers, your neighbors, but now you really see it as a strength for your industry.
It is a strength. We've learned from each other. We've learned that if like you were saying, that we're better together. And we hope it's going to succeed for us. We have a big issue up, so we're still up to see what happens. But yes, when you work together, if it's with your competition, if it's with your partners, when you're all going to the same goal, then that's the way it's going to succeed. Yeah. There's enough room in the cannabis space for all of us. Yeah, that's for sure. And Andrew, what are those key factors you're evaluating before you going into the partnerships you have?
Yeah, so there's a couple key steps that we look to focus on. One has been walk before you run. In many cases, over the last couple of years, you get a lot of excitement going into the industry, into the opportunities. It's one of the key things for Farmera at Tim and Fallon. We like to have a transaction before a partnership, so to understand business acumen and all of the check marks for the operation. So the transactional piece can kind of then flow into that partnership. That's been one main thing we pushed, even being here today, yesterday, calls we get every day for companies that want tons and tons of flower. It's all fantastic. I'd rather do a small transaction and be very happy on both sides than do a big transaction and everybody hates each other. So that's been definitely one piece that's been a foundation for our program. Yeah.
And how is that in California, Scott?
Yeah, I agree 100%. As we like to say, start low and go slow, because if you spend months negotiating a sponsorship agreement with a brand, and especially in an industry where we're going through different market forces and people in different places, I'd rather lose $100 or $500 from a sponsor that didn't pay than $25,000, right? So make sure that you can deliver value to them and grow it, and minimize your risk rather than put yourself in a situation where you might have done a lot of work, delivered a lot of benefit to a brand or a partner, and then get nothing back.
Yeah. I think that maybe going to you, Mike, when you moved into Canada, finding the right partner was for you really crucial, but it brought way more than having that strategic partner. He brought a whole network, you mentioned, right?
Yeah, and there wasn't really an option to start low and go slow, because we were moving into Canada. It was our first major partnership. Again, we have a license in California, so a few years ago, 5-6 years ago, we decided we wanted to move into Canada. Again, on paper, the partnership looked good. We were introduced to a partner that we really respected the client that introduced us. They were eager, we were eager. We moved in. The contract was nice. Everything seemed good. But quickly after moving into that facility, we started to see the crack show. and realize that we didn't do the due diligence that we needed to do and make sure that we were really aligned in our values. Fast forward a little bit, kind of to the good part of the story. Well, it was difficult, but it was during COVID. The borders were closed, and kind of panicking a little bit. Should we move? Should we not move? This is going to be really difficult. Started vetting partners, and then just really started to align with our current partner called Tyma in Canada. They ended up doing everything, sent a U-Haul, picked up all of our equipment, coordinated everything remotely. And from day one, well, we courted them for a while, courted each other, and did the work that we didn't do on the first partnership. And since then, it's been 5 years of kind of partnership bliss, I would say. And yeah, you're not only adopting the entire team there, quality, fulfillment, janitorial staff, all that stuff when you're operating another facility, but you're picking up their entire partner network. And that's where John and I just met yesterday, but we've been working together for 5 years now. He's tested every product we've ever made in Canada, and I think that speaks to the quality of the partnership that we have there through Tyma, that they sent us to High North. They're like, stop dealing with the labs that are giving you wrong results, all that. And so we've just had a successful partnership where we don't even really have to talk to them because Tyma brought us to all the good folks in Canada. So.
And that's really, sometimes that's the best partnership. The best partnership is when you're not getting into conversations all the time. The amount of time you'll be wasting on like arguing about something that's like an irrelevant piece that you shouldn't even be talking about. I think that is like the real, you're laughing because you know it as well. Like it's like, you know, there should be signs early on that stuff is not going well. And I think if you're spending time talking about things, you're like, why are we even talking about this? This should be a non-issue. Yeah. That might be like the first warning sign to be like, hey, let's pump the brakes on this one for a new partner.
Why is the kerning on this font too wide, right? Things we don't need to talk about.
And it could take us years to find you, right? Where it's just, when we switched to Tyma, it was like that. And yeah, we're paying them, 5%, maybe a little bit more than we might have with other partners, but it's all worth it because we're not hiring these full-time people. We're not dealing with all these failed test results and, not being able to service our customers. So
I think also like that, there's this, call it corny, but there's this term I have in Canada called super friends, which is like, there are people that I will never, ever deal with you. You're never going to be my customer, but I have a respect for you. And when it comes to this point where you're having to do due diligence from afar, sometimes those super friends, the ones you can kind of go to and be like, are these people real? Are they good? Like, are they actually good? And they have no reason whatsoever to tell you anything other than the truth because, we're not competing. We're just friends. We're just friends in the same industry. Those people have been super helpful. That's actually what led to Tyma. That's actually what led to kind of these partnerships. And I think those ones that are just being a nice person, being very open, being very clear with good people in the industry that maybe you aren't going to deal with, that might be the best kind of partnerships you could end up having because that will in turn lead to just other connections in other kind of environments. So.
I think what we're all saying is just do your homework before you go into the partnership. Make sure you know exactly who you're going into the partnership with, that you're aligned on values, that you're aligned on the final goal. I think that's really, really important before going into the partnership.
Yeah. But you're from Israel. You're working a lot with North American the companies. What do you see in the culture differences? How you are working on that to find the right partner, because you are looking into it differently than often your North American partners?
I think that with all the complexities of the cannabis business, we don't have the luxury of having cultural differences. So if we do our homework, we know which buttons not to push and which buttons we can work with, then we'll be fine. But the industry is so complex, we need to just make sure we look out for those red flags and that we're aligned and we're all looking for the same thing. And, some companies are looking for when a company sits with me and the first question they ask, and I'm a premium product, is how much per gram, I know they're not going to be the right partner for me. But when they sit down and say, what distinguishes your brand from the other brands, now we're talking.
Yeah, that has been changing the last few years in the industry, and I think especially in Canada, John, you see that back. And you were telling actually a nice story in the back about the differences how growers look to each other in Quebec now, for example. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to elaborate on that. I think if when legalization first hit Canada, everybody was looking at BC Bud and being like, wow, this BC Bud, this is kind of the best product. And I think where we've seen from legalization to today is we've really seen an absolute rise of Quebec. And, you know, a lot of people have kind of theorized, like, why Quebec? Why Quebec? Is it the government supporting? Is it some type of like provincial piece that's driving this piece? And I think one of the kind of interesting parts of this, it's very similar to what you're saying in Israel, and that piece is that Quebec kind of is Quebec. They're competing as their own selves, and so they hope Quebec succeeds. So you could have two growers beside each other in Quebec, they 100% know each other. Not only that, they probably have a WhatsApp chat between each other that they fire messages back and forth all the time, sometimes obscene, sometimes hilarious, sometimes helpful, but either way they're friends. Where if I go to BC, I could find two growers beside each other, and in fact, they probably wouldn't even hire someone that worked in that other facility, let alone talk to that owner. And I think as the industry reaches challenges, as the industry kind of matures, having those partners that are that can support you through hey, I just ran into this scenario, what do you think about this? This cultivar just all of a sudden started stretching 2 feet when it should only stretch 1. What do you think I'm doing? If you have a panel of 15, 20 people in a chat, or you can quickly meet up and just spark a joint with and talk to, I think that really helps relieve the problem faster. And the faster you can kind of get through that problem, the faster you can get to the answer. And I think that is where the speed has really changed in Quebec, is that they're continuing to very much support each other at like even grower side, CEO side, COO side. And I think that's going to continue to help them moving forward. Even as you look at someone like Israel, I could see that. Again, you bind together because of who you are and what kind of binds you. That's going to help you moving forward.
Exactly. And there, like I said, there's room for all of us. And if we all know which niche we're in and what our unique advantage is, then we can respect each other.
Yeah. And going then to you, Andrew, because you're more in the distribution as well, what are a few red flags when working with growers and cultivators?
So one of the main pieces when we onboard a team, either on the buy side or the sell side, is business acumen. And we speak to it quite a few times. So business acumen, mindset, all of those pieces, speed in operation, speed in transaction. So we were working on a deal for this coming season, and it took them probably 2 weeks to respond back to each email. So red flags are everything from your mindset down to your acumen, to your speed of transact, even before you get to the operational side. So that's one of the big red flags, is just the before, like we've all said, is the courting, is the before the scenes. Like at the end of the day, before you have a business, you have your own person. Right, it's no different than dating your spouse before you get married. It's the courtship of understanding the individual ahead of what you're getting into as the time progresses. So that's one of the biggest pieces we've kind of seen the red flags, is just pinpointing the individual ahead of time, understanding. And my mentor, always kind of instills, like, listening to your gut. Sometimes money steers you in different directions. We had a chat yesterday at lunch, and certain things, certain stresses, we've all been there. Money opportunities come to the table, you have to assess them, whether they're right or wrong, even though it's just money on the table. So it's very important to understand your stomach and just understand the individuals that you're working with.
Yeah. Michael, you're into infusion technology. Let's dive into that subject a little bit. How important will play that part in the cannabis industry in the coming years? Because you see it more and more. Yeah,
I mean, it's certainly getting quite big in the U.S. again, with intoxicating hemp being quite popular in particular states. Infused products, particularly beverages, are taking over in Texas, Minnesota, North Carolina, Tennessee, all these states that actually don't have the regulated cannabis industry. And we're seeing bars, restaurants, Liquor stores, some liquor stores in Minnesota are claiming 25% of their sales are now THC beverages. So we're not seeing that obviously in the EU yet, but I see a lot of the same trends happening over here. And it's the opportunity is so great. Whether it's flower, we all need to support each other, like we've been saying, just because the growth we're seeing so quickly in the last year, even in our sector, which previously in dispensary, we couldn't break the 2% of product sales. And now, like I said, liquor stores, which obviously are a lot more common than dispensaries, we're seeing 25% of their total sales in some particular stores. So yeah, it's really exciting right now.
How is that in California, Scott?
It's about on the sales and the infusions, or
No, the movement and the trend with infused products.
Oh, well, so, in California, you can get really if you can imagine putting THC into something, you can buy it in California, right? With like bath bombs, massage oils, lubricants for all different types of things, condoms with infused lubricants. Really, the creativity is out there. I don't know whether people are making money off of it. A lot of people in the industry aren't. But there's that creativity of what can be infused, and it's something that you're seeing in California that will spread elsewhere. When we're talking about strategic partnerships, and so as an organization, I like to work with brands either to support events or activities, and to bring that back to our subject. A lot of those partnerships can be formed in a place like this. 4 years ago, I attended ICBC in Barcelona. I met Jamie Pearson, Ian Rassman, even though Ian lives 20 miles away from me. I had to go to Barcelona to meet him. And this past January, when we had the wildfires in Los Angeles, 180,000 people were evacuated. People lost their homes, but when they evacuated, they left behind their bongs and their pipes and their rolling trays. And Ian and I worked together with Jamie Pearson, who we met through ICBC, and Luna Stower, and many other people that come from this cannabis diaspora that's in this room right now, to create a device and accessory donation drive where people could donate their bongs or pipes to give to the evacuees, because no one else was thinking about the cannabis victims of the fires. And so those types of partnerships come from working in rooms like these and seeing who the people are that you listen to and trust, and they sound smart, work with them. We're here in the room, right? Get those partnerships going today.
Great point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to kind of build on that one. I think for you people here in Europe, in Germany, I don't care what your emerging market is, I think there needs to be a recognition of the people that are passionate towards the industry. Because in Canada, we've gone through boom, bust, and echo. We went through a boom. Everybody joined the cannabis industry, invested in stocks, huge amount. When the bust happened, the people that weren't passionate towards the industry, the people that weren't interested in the plant evolving, the people that really didn't even enjoy the plant, they all went away. So those partnerships that you form with those people that were interested in making good money or going public or being flashy, they're gone. So the people that were left are the ones that are passionate about the plant. Those are the people that are now running the Echo. There, if I can grab many examples of a sales rep that I met 8 years ago. Just thought the person was smart, liked them, got along with them, treated them as a super friend, helped them out whenever I can. That sales rep all of a sudden became a national sales manager, all of a sudden became a COO, who all of a sudden became a CEO. Don't be surprised if that hits your emerging markets. It's the people right now that I think are the truly passionate ones that I'm now 9 years into this. I'm now seeing those people are now kind of running companies and doing a great job. And in fact, they're the ones winning. And they're the ones taking over some of these, as I was saying before, zombie facilities that have been sitting there for 3-4 years. All of a sudden, the right ass is in the right seat, and that person's now running the facility properly because they've understood everything from the store to the sales to the distribution. They understand every part of this process. And now that you've got a person in that seat who's able to actually execute. So I think your partnerships are don't be just looking for executives right now for your partnerships. I would be the super friend to everybody if I was in an emerging market, because you have no idea what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, good points. And what kind, you all here coming from abroad, out of Europe, what partnerships are you guys looking for to find here at the show?
Yeah, for us, being here today, we're looking for, that super friend, just making connections, distribution, logistics, the whole bit. So, a lot of our business for Levin is, Canadian domestically focused. So a small percentage of our business, we do export out into Australia, Germany, soon to be Switzerland and UK. So we're not looking to be everything to everybody, but just, we had some great connections yesterday. I think we met two amazing, individuals that are going to help expand the export side. So it's just, like I say, that's that courting, getting to know the individual, getting to know the trust of the individual itself, and expanding on that, because we get a lot of requests from, sitting in Canada, we get a lot of requests from the broker that's sitting over here. And there's been a lot of great situations and a lot of bad situations, a lot of circumvention, a lot of things you have to look out for ahead of that. So that's what we're looking for today, just having the conversations, opening the doors, and just, understanding the individual on the other side of the mic.
For you, Sargas?
We're looking for, we're looking for those partners who are looking to grow the premium segment of the market, the product that's going to really give value for a medical patient who wants help, who wants a good product, consistent product that they can trust, that he can trust will give him the same effect time after time. And to develop these brands, not just on, not getting into a price war, but to say, we can actually differentiate ourselves. We can give you something that's pesticide-free, that's indoor craft, that's niche, the top of the niche market, and are looking to develop those brands and be here for the long run.
Yeah. So you are growing indoors in
Indoor craft,
yeah,
Israel.
in Israel,
Indoor craft, hand-picked, hand-trimmed, of course, no pesticides. We're looking to bring those products that really make a difference.
Yeah. All right, for you, Michael?
Yeah, specifically, I'm not sure exactly what type of partnerships I'm looking for. I think I came here primarily to learn, understand where the market's heading, see where it's currently at relative to what's going on stateside and in Canada. I really like the term super friends that John keeps talking about, and I think, like he's saying, the people who are most passionate, the people who are focused on quality, who are looking for partnerships that are going to be long-lasting and that you can tell are going to be in this industry for a long time. I think it's just making those initial connections, planting those seeds, because for what we do, it's probably going to be a few years at least before we see too much business in the EU. Like I said, we are already, we do have a couple small clients that we ship to over here, so I think there's a little bit of potential now. But yeah, I'm here mainly to learn and to provide insight of what's going on in the U.S. because things are changing quite rapidly. And yeah, it's been exciting, and I see no reason why that the evolution that we've seen won't be consistent with the EU.
Yeah, I was quite surprising what you were telling about what's happening with all the infused products, and that is actually what my thinking is as well for here in Europe. As soon as that is possible and allowed, that really will speed up all those processes over here as well.
Yeah, and I can say, like, when we started 7-8 years ago, beverage really wasn't a thing, and there were a lot of eye rolls and doubt and things like that. So that could possibly existing right now here, but it happened, and I think it's going to eventually happen everywhere.
A lot of people don't know that, but Lagunitas, California, they have a cannabis-infused drink, but actually Heineken is owning that brewery. Heineken is from Amsterdam, so they're already in the business for a long run, and a lot of people in the Netherlands, for example, they don't know about that. Yeah,
I mean, behind the scenes, all the biggest alcohol beverage brands, all that are in it, and non-alcohol, to be honest. So the distributors, retailers, all the big money's interested in specifically on the beverage side. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
So speaking of Amsterdam, since you asked, for the last few years, Amsterdam has been running these stay away ads. I want them to run a stay away, go to West Hollywood ad, right? We want your cannabis tourism. And if any of you are going to World Cup next year or have friends who are, come visit us in West Hollywood. We'd love to have you and come out and visit us in the lounge.
Right. John, for you.
Yeah, for us, it's kind of interesting because I think for me, I'm trying to just add value to whoever's tested for me. I know what your COA is. In fact, I probably know, we work with 650 LPs inside of Canada. A lot of these people, I would just love to add value to what they're already doing. If you're looking to come to Germany, I've met a whole bunch of people. I would love to connect you to those people because what that leads to, it's Canada doing better testing, more testing. It just continues to accelerate. I don't need to be part of that conversation. I literally just here to help connect people, and I think bringing that value as a supplier, as a vendor, is something where you're giving a lot of extra value on top of a lab report. And I think look for that for your vendors, look for that for your suppliers. Is this supplier helping me out outside of just their own business? Are they actually helping my core business? Do they understand it? Are they feeding to it? And for me, I'm just trying to be here to just help connect people and bring it all together.
Because what you're doing is an important part of the whole business, and when we are in growing, we always say, okay, test your product, know what's in there, and be consistent in your production. What I've seen worldwide, I was in Thailand in November. Everybody is seeking for the right partner for analysis because it's difficult to find. When I was in Australia, the same thing. South Africa. Why is that part of the business still so fragile?
You know what? I think for analytical testing, it is a combination of two personalities that usually don't mix, which is in cannabis, you need to be entrepreneurial because you need to change. You need to be constantly adapting. Labs do not like that. Labs like to make a method and then sit on it for 20 years. They don't want to update that method when a new variable comes out. They don't want to change something because a new country has changed its pesticides. Labs don't like to move. So the idea of having an entrepreneurial mindset in a lab, it's difficult because you are constantly changing. And when you change, you're investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in weeks of time. And was that the right move, and wasn't it? And I think the other one is there's not a lot of lab people who really love weed. Like, I love weed. Like, I openly just love it. Like, it's like I've smoked weed now since I was probably 20. I'm in my mid-40s now. I'm still smoking a lot of weed. I love my beverages. I love edibles. I got a vape cart in my pocket at all times. That helps, and that really helps to talk about partnerships. I can align with a CEO that says, I really love smoking weed. I'm like, yeah, so do I. It helps on that side. And I think not having that entrepreneurial mindset that loves cannabis, that's ready to change, that can also be hard and analytical and strict on that kind of GMP testing side, those personalities usually don't kind of mix up into one. And often, if those aren't there, the lab's just going to fail.
Yeah. You found the right partner for analytics in Israel, I guess?
Let's move on to the next section.
I was about to say no, but
Coming to almost the end of this panel about strategic partnerships, what is something you want to give to the audience, Andrew, and say, this is my takeaway from what I've seen here the last 1.5 day?
Yeah, the takeaway from our side, from our vision, the industry in Germany has expanded very quickly and is adopting a lot of the strategies from Canada and other parts of the world. So it's amazing. So I would just say, takeaway from what we've seen: take the time to understand the individual ahead of moving forward in any one of these relationships. Go for dinner, have a chat, unravel the individual a little bit further, and then move forward as you see fit. Sometimes making the trek from Canada to Germany to meet someone in person is worth the time and effort.
All right, final words from you, Michael. What is your takeaway?
Takeaway for me, I think what we've talked about a lot is just strength of network is really important. So continuing to come to things like this, looking for your super friends, continuing to build that. Things change, reg change, you don't know what's going to happen, so if you have the right people to call on, you can't build it all yourself, so just continuing to solidify your network.
Yeah, I think that concludes our conversation really nicely. I want to really thank you, Andrew, Narkis, Michael, Scott, and John for being here, and yeah, we'll speak soon, I guess.
Let's hear it again for the panel. It was fantastic. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out. I'm sure if you have questions for them, they'd love to talk to you in the hallway out there. Everybody stand up, take the picture, and then we will move on to the next one. This is the International Cannabis Business Conference, Berlin 2025. We're always excited to be out here.